Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Peter Barber here, professional opera singer and music producer, and today we are back with DianaAnkudinova, and we're going to be checking out her performance from the soundtrack of the movie Dune, which I have seen, but I had no idea that she was a part of it, and I've gotten tons and tons of requests for this song. Guys, this is a reaction and analysis, so will be pausing primarily to talk about the vocal technique, as that's where my expertise lies, but of course, as a music producer and a composer and arranger, I will also be talking about some of the other elements musically that are going on. So if you'd like to watch the video all the way through without pausing, head to the link in the description below, check it out, and then come on back if you want to learn more about what's going on. But let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Super excited to be back with Diana. It's been a few months. D minor. Very soundtrack, cinematic. This is crazy because usually when we hear Diana perform, she starts out very low in her voice and then gradually builds up to the big, higher, belty stuff.
Wise men say only fools rush in.
She's already all the way up to a high A and pure chest voice, really good connection, really efficient use of the sound, just a really solid high belt. And usually we don't get that till the end of her pieces, so it's crazy to hear her, come out of the gate, guns blazing. Really well sustained, really consistent pitch. Notice how big her mouth is on that belt, just as wide open as she can possibly get it, that's the move. That's the move for a high chest belt. You can see on the higher the pitch, the more she's going to open her mouth. And you can see it adjusting. Now, she does change vowels intentionally here, depending on what she's singing. But on the ah vowel specifically, watch how as she's higher in these passages, the ah is even more ah-y. It's even more open. That's up to tenor high C, so C5, and really interestingly, that was on. I think it was probably an oo, written as an oo, and then opened to more like an That's vowel modification. But on that high C, you really want to be singing ah. So if you're given an oo on that pitch, that is just a really tough balance to strike. I think she did as good a job as she can. That's the vowel shape. That's the mouth you want to have on that high C if you can. Because this is recorded in the room, a lot of these war drum percussion and synthy stuff is pretty muddy sounding. Of course, if you were to listen on the official recording and the soundtrack, it would all be very balanced and absolutely perfect. But fortunately, we can hear her voice quite clearly, even though we're getting the room sound. Or if she's turning her head away from the mic so as to not be too loud. There's microphone technique, how you approach the microphone. Now these are big belts. These are big, loud belts. Off microphone, these would have significant volume for sure. You can tell by the efficiency of the sound and just the range and the mouth position. We don't know exactly how loud, but they would have solid volume, these belts, no question. So it seems like she's turning away from the mic maybe to not overload it. The parts lower in her voice on the more closed vowels can go straight into the mic, and the big mouth belts, kind of go off center. Also, this is just so Hans Zimmer. Like he has a very he has a very signature sound composition style, and it's a lot of it's based on drones, atmospheres, and gradually building and building and building and building. Best example of this is probably his work with Interstellar. Just the amount of drone soundscapes he creates, and then how they just very, very slowly rev up and rev up and rev up in intensity. So I would not be surprised if this also followed that very classic Hans Zimmer roadmap. Phrygian. This is D Phrygian. D Phrygian is minor key with a flat 2. So in D you'd have, instead of da 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 da, that's D minor. In Phrygian you have da 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 da. You have that flat 2. So instead of E natural you have E flat. Really cool. This is very much like it evokes like an Egyptian kind of feel to it. Fun plug really quick. I have a new album coming out at some point, and I've made 2 versions of one song. One I made, and then I brought Marwan Ayman in for a second version of the song, and it's kind of like the Egyptian version. Marwan is himself Egyptian, and he did a bunch of Phrygian additions and vocal runs to this song, and it's a really signature soundscape and harmonic structure, and it adds a certain element, and this is perfect for Dune. I mean, they're literally out in like the desert in this kind of like slightly off from reality world, right? Like there are a lot of real elements, but it's fantasy in a way. It's like sci-fi. Really cool, and Phrygian really fits that perfectly. When you think pyramids, you just hear Phrygian. Yeah, so unfortunately this all just sounds pretty muddy because it's all room noise, right? And I'm sure it would be different if you were actually there, but just how it's recorded on this phone or whatever this device is, it's very roomy and muddy and reverby. It'd be much cleaner if you actually like look up this sound from the sound. Also, I don't actually know, is she actually on the soundtrack for Dune, or is she just performing this piece from the soundtrack? That was not made clear to me. It'd be sick if she were actually on the soundtrack, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, it's unfortunately muddy. You just can't hear much specificity. You feel it building though? Now that solo violin is much clearer. Some other added elements came in. Brass sections growing. It's all this Hans Zimmer style of just very slowly ramping things up. Philip Glass does this too. Philip Glass is a very famous composer. A lot of really cool, interesting operatic works. He has this style too, of tons and tons and tons of repetition while just adding a little element here and a little element there, so it never quite gets stale. It's always building. Building. See, it's just every section just revs up a little bit. Ooh, some heavy synths, heavy guitars. Nice. She got up to B natural there. I would have expected B flat in this key, but it sounded like a B natural. Not quite sure. Now the trouble here for Diana is that she started singing in a high belt position, right? So there's really not much farther she can go as far as how intense her vocals are. I mean, she came out belting her face off, and I've talked about this a lot in videos, how it's really great vocally to start an arrangement more subdued in your lower range so that you have much more to build to. So the instruments can build and build and build and build, but the intensity that Diana can bring to this was pretty maxed right at the start. And so vocally now, 4 minutes later, we're still getting very similar vocals. It's phenomenal, it's powerful, it's more powerful because the orchestration is adding to it, it's additive. So we'll see what can happen in the next minute, because there's just not much room for her voice to grow in this. It's already a very high belt position, which is pretty much the most intense kind of singing you can do, unless she added like a bunch of grit into the sound, which would not make sense probably for this style. I see. So B flat there. So electric guitar revving up some, right? They're still adding a little bit of intensity with the orchestration, but like I said, Diana's maxed out, man. She's just belting her head off, and this is bound to be really, really taxing vocally too. Like, this is not, you don't want to be, it's difficult, right? She sings very well. She's got good technique. She can maintain powerful belting for a while, but remember, her voice is pretty naturally low sitting, so for her to sing this high for a long time is definitely going to be taxing. This piece, I mean, it's very clearly meant for soundtrack, right? This is the kind of, I'm imagining, I don't remember what's happening in the movie during this, but it feels like there's a large group of people moving slowly through the sand, like a giant caravan getting to a new place. Like, that's the imagery I'm seeing as this is playing. And it's meant for that. This is meant to be, I mean, soundtrack music at its core is meant to be background that adds to whatever's happening in the movie, not the other way around. So you have this, and you need it. Movies need it. It's essential. Despite being background, it is essential to bring the movie to its potential. But performed without the movie, you know, as a standalone piece, it definitely loses something, and it's very repetitive, and it's slow to build. And the vocals are literally the same the whole time. So it's a pretty epic piece, But done in this kind of setting, it's like it's obvious. It's very obviously missing something, and that's what you get when you piece the movie and the sound together. They go hand in hand. Really cool piece, and now I'm interested to go see it, back in context. Ooh, No Time to Die. So Diana smashed it. Literally did the best that you could ask any performer to do on this song. It's just really repetitive. I mean, it really is the same vocals the whole time, even in terms of intensity. But, she smashed it. She's amazing. Now I'm really interested to see her sing No Time to Die by Billie Eilish, because that is, it's one of my favorite songs. Absolutely love it. I'm reimagining that song right now for bass singer and electronics. I'm not sure if it'll be released, but anyway, hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you gained more appreciation for Diana and her amazing voice. Let me know if this is actually in the movie or if it's just she's doing a piece from the movie. Any other comments you have, leave them below. That's very helpful for the algorithm. Please like the video, please subscribe, and if I enhanced your experience, if I increased your appreciation for music or Diana or Dune or whatever, please do consider joining my Patreon for as little as $0 a month. And then if you'd like to start getting benefits, you can then upgrade to one of the paid tiers. And that's it, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.